We've seen so much destruction of the lands and resources due to human activity. Finally, due to public awareness, DFO worked with Chiam and Squaw to do this restoration project.
So the nations decided to sort of take stewardship of the area, so they're leading the study, I'm just helping with it. And our job is to identify the critical areas, the areas that we want to be very careful about public access to help inform the management plan that they're going to write.
So today we're completing some fish sampling. So what that is looking like is we're going out with seine nets and we're dragging them through the water, pulling them up to characterize the diversity and the abundance of different fish species that use Gill Bar.
The thing about an area where you've got a lot of fish use is it becomes a magnet on the landscape for everything else.
It's arguably one of the most important pieces of the South Coast as this feeds into the estuary of the mouth of Fraser, where you get significant amounts of biomass, biodiversity, and so in this particular region we get thousands of beagles through that come through every spring and fall during their migration, and we also have several thousand that breed here all year. Restoration generally, I think, needs to be holistic in nature, and to do that you really have to understand a space. There's a huge amount of information that can be drawn upon from kind of the oral stories and traditions that Indigenous peoples had here. I mean, they were the wildlife managers, the OG of wildlife managers, if you want to call it that. They managed not only the wildlife, but probably more importantly, the landscape.
So what's been shared with me is that two-eyed seeing is taking the Western science and combining it with the Indigenous knowledge that's been here since time immemorial. Western science tells us that there's rocks here and the size of the rocks. It tells us that there's plants here and the height of the plants and the type of the plants. But Indigenous knowledge tells us why the rocks are important and how they work together with the fish, why the plants are important and how they feed the fish, and why it works together as a whole to create a healthy environment.
When decisions are made about how these lands and these resources are going to be regulated, if they don't take into account our spiritual relationship to this area, then they can wind up using these lands and resources carelessly. The evidence becomes more clear about how deeply important it is for us to take really good care of this. And we do that through our stories, we do that through our ceremonies. And that really does something to elevate the true value of everything that we have here.
The ecological information we provide, myself and my colleagues, but we always work with First Nations, like the folks you see me working with today. Most of them are from Chiam First Nation. They're technicians and guardians that work with us. The leadership of the project consists of elders at Chiam and Squaw.
For most of our fieldwork, we've been really lucky to have subject matter experts out, as well as lots of community members helping to support work. And I think getting the combined kind of experience and expertise from everyone has been a really great way to make sure we're employing different ways of knowing when we're conducting our fieldwork.
I think the south coast of British Columbia is a very special place, and I think that's demonstrated through not only my personal opinion of that, but just the fact that we've had presence here for literally 10,000 plus years. And we would have nations from Alaska, Haida Gwaii, the island, all come through here to capitalize on the salmon runs. Anywhere you have kind of that abundance of natural wealth, at least in my mind, that's kind of an indicator of it being a pretty unique and special place and worthy of protection.